Welcome. You are tuned into 2.5 Potheads. This is everyone's favorite medicine man, Mike. Unfortunately, Matty Greenhands is moving this week, so he is not here today. But instead, I am joined with a couple of my engineers. We are here with JQ, Baldwin. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
What's going on, y'all? It's me, Baldwin. I'm here every week. Well, not every week, but whenever Mike and Matt are ready to record, I'm always there for them. We out here. Don't know much about growing or smoking, so I'll be the voice in the background, asking a few questions to my guy over here, Mike.
I love it. I'm JQ, co-host of a Vibe podcast. I know plenty of smoking, but nothing about growing, and this will be a great time, a great venture. So
It'll be very informative.
Yep, you guys, you came to the right spot. Definitely to talk about growing, get some information there, and we know how to smoke. So, especially 2.5 Potheads, looks like I'm going to be smoking enough for the 2.5 Potheads. So first, want to go ahead and introduce officially our sponsor, Well Grown Seeds. Give a round of applause for Well Grown Seeds.
Oh, yeah.
They're just fantastic. Great customer service, fantastic quality genetics. And honestly, just the most responsive seed bank that I've ever dealt with in my life. They take care of all their people. Plenty of freebies, plenty of gears. And of course, we're going to be doing some giveaways on the podcast as well. So,
You heard that.
yes, sir. So this is episode 3. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing the giveaway on episode 6. So anyone that goes on Instagram between now and episode 6 and likes, shares on their story, and tags 2 people in the post for episodes 3, 4, and 5, you get 1 entry for each post. So you can get a maximum of 3 entries. Episode 6, we'll be pulling the numbers, and we will announce 2 winners. You get a hoodie and a bunch of different seed packs. Again, just fire genetics coming from Well Grown Seeds. So stay tuned. Be sure to stay on Spotify, listen to the podcast, and up to date on our Instagram for more information about the giveaways.
Hell yeah. Hey, congrats on that.
yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
Hell yeah. Super excited. And while we're talking about seeds, why don't we talk about starting some seeds? Since you guys also don't have too much grow experience, why don't we get into that? And if you guys have any questions, love to answer those.
Do it.
So with starting seeds, there's a bunch of different methods that you can use. Most common, my preferred method, if anyone remembers in elementary school, the paper towel method. Basically what you do, you're going to take a paper towel, take like a couple pieces. You don't want like just one. You want like some solid cushioning, and you want it to be damp, not wet. So you don't want like the water soaking
Like
through.
seep through.
Right. Just a damp paper towel. You guys probably remember this. Might be like the only elementary school memory I really have, but
Because we were talking about it a little bit off air, and that's the first thing I thought of is when I was in elementary school. I don't remember what the hell we were growing, but it definitely wasn't weed.
yeah,
But
I know. I think
definitely
we
wasn't
grew
marijuana.
like.
Or it could have been. Who knows?
Yeah. Honestly, starting most seeds, they're all going to be kind of the same methods. It's very similar. I know. I'm like, what did we grow? It's probably like some kind of beans or something.
It might have
Had
been a
to
bean.
be.
Actually, I think it
Bean.
literally was
Was
a
it
bean.
bean?
Yeah.
Ton of beans.
Well,
of beans.
this is kind of close. Bean, weed, bean. But anyways, so I use the paper towel method. Take your seeds, put them right into that paper towel, fold it up. You put it in, you can put it in between a couple plates. I use a Tupperware container, and I just crack the lid a little bit because the humidity is super important. You don't want that paper towel drying out. And then you kind of check after a couple days, usually in the 4 to 7 day mark, you're going to have your seeds germinating. You're going to see the tails coming through. So you'll know like which seeds are going to you're going to want to put in some soil. So next, after again that 4 to about a week, you take some solo cups. You're going to fill those up with your soil. And then about 1/4 of an inch or a fingernail's length or so down. You can just use your finger if you want. You just poke down with the your finger in the soil. You're going to take your seed. I use a spoon. You can use like gloved hands, anything. I don't like to directly touch the root with my fingers. You have oils, bacterias, stuff on your hands. And these seedlings are going to be super sensitive. They're baby plants. It's like baby people. You're going to want to really kind of coddle
like
these.
that. Baby people.
Baby people.
I love that. Baby people.
So then you want to take your seedlings, and that tail that you see, you want that going straight down. So then you put that in your soil, you cover the top, and then I take a spray bottle and about 10, 12 squirts of water. You want your soil to be wet but not soaked. If you give them too much water, you're going to choke them out. They can't soak it all up. They're going to get no oxygen. So again, just kind of keep it light. You don't want your soil to dry out. Again, humidity is super important here. So most people, what I use too, is a humidity dome. So you take your solo cups with your seeds, put it in this humidity dome. Mine's vented, so I have the vents on the top. I keep the vents totally closed. And then again, like I'll wait a few days. I'm watching the soil. If I see the soil's dried out, I give it some squirts of water, usually about 8 to 10, 12, kind of depending. And then once I'll start, like again, after a few days, you'll see those seedlings kind of poking through the soil. Once they're a few inches tall or like just kind of an established seedling, then I'll start venting the tops or even just taking the top of the humidity dome off and just kind of let them get more accustomed to the environment. You want your light, depending on what light you're using. I always use LEDs, and I keep them about 18, 24, depending on your light. You might even want them a little bit further away, like in the 24 to 30 inch range away from your plants. You don't want your light to be too close. You can be too intense, it can be too much. You can burn your plants. Then also you can dry your soil out quicker. Again, you want that moisture, but you don't want too much water in there. So your seedlings are just going to be super sensitive.
Do you so you right now we're just talking about the beginning stages. Mm-hmm. Once your seed starts to sprout, do you adjust the light? Does that ever adjust depending on how far along you are?
So usually if you have it in that 24 to 30 inch range, it will kind of grow to the environment. So as it gets taller, it can handle a little bit more light, so you'll be all set there.
So it like essentially reaches for the light too, right?
Right. So. Yep. It'll stretch out. If you notice the plant is stretching too much or there's too big of a space in between each like leaf node, your light is a little too high. You might want to lower that. But again, you'd rather have your light be a little further away than too close. You'd rather it kind of want to stretch versus stunting and maybe potentially killing your plant. But usually in that 24 inch range is pretty spot on for your seedlings. Again, I use LEDs depending on what light you're using. If you're using a CMH or a high pressure sodium light, these run a little hotter. So your temperatures might be a little, depending on where you are in your room or your season, it might be a little just hot in the environment.
Okay. So is there a way to determine, or do you know how long do you have to keep the lights on essentially?
Yes, that is a great question. Yeah. Thank you. So with seedlings and during the veg stage, you want 18 hours of sunlight. 18 hours. Yep. You can go ahead and you can buy timers, anything like that. You can have manual timers, digital timers, and just set it up so that your light automatically comes on at this time, automatically goes off at this time.
But it's pretty much all day.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a constant 18 hours, then that difference essentially of dark time, then going back on that 18-hour interval. Okay.
Yep. And then, again, you're going to want to keep that same light cycle going the whole way through veg.
Gotcha.
So like that 18 hours, that's going to maximize your plant veg growth. Mm-hmm. Just think about it like long summer days.
Yeah, gotcha.
And your plants are just loving it. So it's those 17, 18-hour days. Depending on the strains, some of them like maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. But a good rule of thumb is that 18 hours.
Okay. Safe mark.
So, yeah, hell yeah.
Gotcha.
Thank you. That was a great question.
Yeah, this is
No,
incredible.
that's dope. So,
incredible.
would you say? And I'm just assuming. I'm just assuming that that's the beginning stages is probably the most crucial
Oh, yeah.
because you have to be But by the way you're explaining it, they're very delicate.
Yep.
So that's when they it probably needs attention the whole way through. But once they start to sprout, that's probably when you have a little bit more leeway to get away with shit.
I'd
Not
actually
saying that there should be any shortcuts, but I'm saying let's say I don't know, one day you got shit going on and you can't attend to your plant. You know what I'm saying?
So it all kind of, I guess, depends on like what goes on and any issues that are kind of going on. You can get away with like maybe I should have watered yesterday. I'm going to water today kind of thing.
Just a day.
Yeah, a day, maybe 2 days with something like water. But again, like you'll kind of be able to tell by looking at your plants. Seedlings are more sensitive, so you might want to, again, give those more attention. But during like the veg stages, if like, maybe I missed a day of watering, you go back the next day, you'll even notice by looking at your plants, they'll be a little wilty. And if you go like another day, they'll be more wilty. But you should be able to, once you give them some water, they'll bounce right back. You just always want to be careful too with your under and over watering, because that can put some stress on the plants. And again, no people want to be stressed out. Your plants don't want to be stressed out.
Absolutely.
How do you gauge when they're just germinating or you're trying to get them to germinate?
I was going to ask, how can you tell like that the plant or the seedling at that time is receptive?
And because you mentioned too that a few squirts, so it's always a mist is it always on?
Yep. So I'm always using the squirt bottle at the beginning, just because, unless I measure out some water. But you just want to keep it light. Again, most people, it's super easy to overwater seedlings because this is just in a solo cup. It's just a small plant. You're just giving it really that little bit of water. Just imagine just this tiny root. So if you soak this cup, it's just going to choke out that root and you're going to have no oxygen in there. So I just keep it light. And then as the plant gets bigger, the soil will dry out quicker because it's soaking up more of that water. And you can kind of give it more water as it progresses. But you'll notice just by watching the plant, like you'll start seeing some growth. But again, especially as new growers, this happens on any stage, any level. Not every seedling is going to, or not every seed is going to germinate, and not every seedling is going to make it. I've killed so many plants in my life. Anyone who grows plants, it comes with the territory. That's what's going to happen.
Trial and error.
Yeah. So don't be discouraged by losing any plants. You almost even have to have the positive aspect of like, well,
You probably will lose some plants.
you will lose some plants, and also you want the strongest of your plants that make it through flowers. So maybe like the seeds that didn't germinate, or your weaker seedlings, that might even be doing you a favor just by like not making it, because now you just have your strongest plants that
focus on.
right. So I always try to like keep that in the back of my head, because I know plenty of new growers get discouraged, like, oh man, like I lost all my seedlings or this happened. And it's like, again, it's trial and error. Just keep with the process. And again, you learn what works, because there's different methods. We just talked about the paper towel method.
Yeah, there's other
That's
ways to do
super
it.
common. That's what I do. Matty Greenhands, whenever we're able to get him back, hopefully for the next episode.
He raw dogs it.
Yeah, he does. He raw dogs it. And some growers, this works for them. Again, I say he's got green hands. But you just take the seed and he throws it right in the soil. Same thing, 1/4 inch down, waters the soil lightly, and then just watches them. Once he sees, and you'll notice like when your soil's dry by looking at the top, then you water your seedlings. Once they get a little bit bigger and you go towards that veg stage, take your finger, put your finger in the soil, a couple knuckles down. If it's dry, you can give them some water.
So I guess the
Wet, you
plant,
don't.
the plant essentially kind of tells you what it needs in a way.
Yep. And what you can even do too, they even have soil testers. So you can take it, stick it right in the soil, and it will tell you if your soil's dry or wet. So when you stick this thing down, it's like, all right, well, it says it's dry, and this is, 8, 12 inches down. This is where my roots are. Yeah, I should probably give them some water right now. And then again, this might even be like your plant might not be telling you. It's not kind of wilting down. You're not sure because maybe your soil like just dried out. Test it, because that's the best way to know. Okay, it's dry now, but my plant's not showing any underwatering signs. It's the best time to water it. There's no stress and it needs it.
Oh, that's cool. So it sounds like fundamentally, it's growing marijuana is the same as growing any other plant. But what would you say is the unique thing that, like if you're growing marijuana as opposed to like whatever, tomato or something?
Yep. Well, tomatoes are actually probably going to be like the closest vegetable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's for like years before like weed was legal or anything. Any like growers, if they went into stores, they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm growing tomatoes." Because
funny.
same thing. If you think
Look at
about
that.
it,
I just
like,
brought up something that had nothing.
yeah,
That's funny, and it connects.
Yep. Well, the same thing. Like there's growers that will use tomato cages as support for their weed plants. But just as far as like a nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus level, tomatoes can be kind of similar. But those are the three biggest elements that are, play a huge role in growing weed. And every plant needs different things to grow differently. So every vegetable is going to need different levels of those. Again, once they start flowering or anything like that, different amounts of light, different amounts of water. But growing weed is very similar to growing plenty of vegetables. Again, if you like growing vegetables, you'd probably really like growing some weed. Especially if you smoke it, because it's a fantastic hobby. If you grow your own, you know exactly what's in it, exactly what you're smoking, exactly what the genetics are. Saves you a trip to either Sketchy Steve on the corner or to the dispensary. Like,
Yeah, because you know exactly what you grew.
yeah.
But
Starting out though, again, like germinating seeds, the process is almost going to be identical.
Yeah.
Depending on, again, like what you want to do. I know some growers will do like the cup of water, and you can take your seeds and just put them in a cup of water. Usually in like a day or two, you're going to have them crack the shell and you'll see that tail again. You can scoop them out, and once they're in the soil, the method's going to be the same. And again, this is for soil
That's
growing.
without soil, you're saying? What you just mentioned?
Yep. Like if you just put like the seed in a cup of water.
Oh.
Hydroponics?
Yeah, and we can talk more hydroponics in a future episode, but it's just different methods of starting the seed, where the biggest thing is seeds are dormant until they're put in the right environment to grow. That's even why like you can bring back like extinct plants if you have the seeds, because the seeds stay good. So once they're in that cup of water, or once they're in that damp soil or anything like that, it starts triggering them to, okay, now it's time for me to like come out and play. So usually after a day or two, because they're just in that water, they'll crack through. But you want to pay attention to those and not leave them too long, because again, they're just sitting in water. Yeah. After so long, that's not going to work out for them. But yep, I know plenty of growers that do that. You can even start them in a cup for like a day and then put those into the paper towel and finish them in the paper towel method before you put them in a cup.
Because it accelerates it a little bit, or
some people think, most people think it accelerates them a little bit. It's kind of like the thought is you're softening, you're soaking the whole shell. I just like going the paper towel. Gives it that
seems
same.
safer. Seems safer.
It does.
And I like it because it helps me better diagnose any kind of issues, especially when I'm starting out, where it's like, again, Maddie just takes the seeds right in the soil. That works for a lot of growers. But I don't know if those seeds germinated, if they got too much, too little water, like what the issue was. If I do the paper towel method, I know, okay, well, I had 10 seeds. Well, 8 germinated. So then I know, okay, maybe these other 2 just take a little bit longer. Maybe they're just dead seeds. They're not going to come through. But now I have these 8 that germinated. Once those go into soil, now I'll know, okay, well, 6 or 7 came through. Again, you want all of them to come through. So then it's like, Well, did I overwater? Did I underwater?
Yeah.
Was my light too close, too far? And again, different lights. I use LED lights. I have a PAR meter, which measures how much light your plants are actually getting. So I can kind of dial in and keep things more in ideal ranges.
So you have all these fancy gadgets that tell you,
of
that
course.
tell you exactly what it
Yeah.
is. That's dope. That's fire.
It is, because then I can, again, like better dial these things in. But some lights, like I know, like T5 fluorescent lights, these are great for starting seeds. I personally don't like them. I just stick with LEDs. Just, again, great energy cost, and it just kind of keeps everything on that same level the whole time. But with T5s, you can keep your lights a little closer, but if you're using a PAR meter or anything like that, it's not going to measure the same numbers that you'd ideally want. So sometimes people have made the mistake of putting their T5 too close, and it actually burns the top of their plants because they're going based off like certain numbers or anything like that. So again, usually that 18, 24 for some lights, 24 is really kind of the magic number, but 24 to 30, depending on, again, I use LEDs. That's probably going to be a better range for that light. You can kind of better figure out what the issue was. Because then again, as a new grower, you want to learn all these things, because then once you have something dialed in that works for you, it's very easy to repeat it. Again, everybody does things differently.
Yeah.
What works for one grower is not going to work for you. It might. You just listen to different people, listen to this podcast,
Listen to this podcast.
listen to all these techniques,
Listen.
and then again, just kind of try them all out and figure what works for you.
Absolutely.
And I've seen your setup, man, and from me not knowing shit about shit, when I seen it, it just looks beautiful. It's legit. You got some very pretty plants coming up in that motherfucker. It's nice.
Hell
It's
yeah.
really nice, man. You do a good job. And I remember when you first started, man.
Yep.
So it's really cool to see the progression and like how more knowledgeable you are now when it
hell
comes
yeah.
to just growing. So good for you, bro. Round of applause to you. Just informing yourself and just learning about this. And now you have your fucking shop coming. It's just crazy, bro. Shout out to you.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Let's go, man. Cheers to that.
No, shout out to you guys. I appreciate it. And that's it. I mean, it's all about doing what you love and helping people kind of along the way.
Exactly. You're paying it forward just by having this podcast.
Absolutely.
You're paying it forward.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Because
and
there's a lot of people
remember
that want to start, man. And maybe they wouldn't initially want to reach out because of whatever. Because you know how people can be. Like they're scared to reach out
Yep.
for certain things. If you tell them, hey, I have this podcast, it kind of alleviates that initial like being anxious to hit somebody up. Like, hey, just check out my podcast, man.
Yep. No, again, check out my podcast. If you know me, you probably have my number. If you don't, you can find it somewhere. But call me, email me. People send me pictures of their plants and ask me questions all the time. And again, if you are a new grower, have any questions, let me know. We'll answer them on the podcast. Again, I love touching on things that maybe I could have went into more information on. And then also, plenty of people don't know where to get seeds. I'll tell you right now, well-grown seeds. And also, we do giveaways. You don't even have to buy them. Just listen to the podcast, like and repost it.
Yes.
I'll get you some stuff. If you just keep entering, your chances of winning are going to be good. So...
Got nothing to lose.
Right. And then again, like you said, we'll shout out Mass Hydroponics. We're going to be opening this fall. And then again, if you need some more seeds, tents, lights, soil, the whole nine, magical butter machines, you want something to make your own concentrates, your own dabs, whatever, we'll have it there. So just stay tuned for everything. Again, if anyone has any questions, we'll go through it. And it sucks that there is this stigma, though, kind of behind weed, or then people have that like, oh, like I want to grow, but I don't want to like talk to people about it. Like, what if people judge me about whatever? plenty of people don't even know that I smoke weed. So if I talk about growing weed, what are they going to think?
Yeah.
And it's
You've
like,
kind of addressed that already. I know this is only your third episode, but you've actually addressed how you've stopped. You were at a point where you stopped smoking because of like other people and other outside influences, and you've gone through that. So I feel like you personalizing it and telling your story of how you've gotten to this point right now, I think it'd give a relief to other people, because there's other people that feel that same way. They feel like they're going to be judged. The stigma that marijuana has, it's completely just
There's a terrible stigma behind marijuana. You know what I mean? And
horrible, yeah.
And compared to other things that are commonly used, it's not as harmful. But people are just so caught up into that nature of, they said this was bad, so it must be bad.
yep.
You know what I mean? So
So, I mean, you opening up your shop, I think the difference between your shop and others is the support. Mm-hmm. You're going to have that support. So, that base is like, it comes from somewhere real. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be supporting people because you want to support,
Yeah.
right? Now you're going to be the one that's giving it.
Yep.
Again, paying it forward.
Yep.
Wow.
No, that's, again, I preach that stuff all the time, where it's like, if you want to get, everybody's like, oh, I want more money. I want to get this. I want people to treat me this way or whatever. And it's like, well, are you giving these things?
Yeah.
Are you giving your best self to everybody else? If you want anyone to cheer for you, are you cheering loudly for others? If you want people to respect you, are you respecting others?
Yeah.
If you don't want somebody to yell at you, are you yelling at other people? Like, you get what you give a lot.
Yeah.
So, and it might not even be right away. Sometimes you might be giving a lot and then life happens and then you're like, wait a minute, I have all this good karma coming to me. Why did this happen? But then again, you just got something even better on the way. You just got to hold on for that. And again, like, talk about the stigma and everything that you just said, with stuff that I've dealt with and people or anything. And it still goes on. And it's always fascinating to me, because you don't know what anyone thinks until they kind of say it.
Yeah.
And as the world kind of changes and adapts, there's certain employers, like my girlfriend's employer actually recently just kind of changed their drug policy.
Really?
And was like, if anyone, consumes cannabis on their own time, like, we're not going to test for that anymore. Just don't come to work high, basically, which I support. Like, again, if you have your medical card, everything has their reasons and their timing and everything like that. But again, if you're a recreational user, I can totally understand, like, just wait until, 4:20, 5 o'clock, and you can smoke after work. But some of the feedback, though, when they initially got that email of like, hey, like, we're going to kind of lighten up on that because the world's changing and whatever. Some of the feedback from some of her coworkers was like, I don't know if I want to work with like marijuana users, or just like,
Is that up top too? Some people up top?
I don't know if it was like up top, but some people just, again, had this like bad stigma that it's like you're an addict or something. And
exactly.
I can't, again, I have my own views on that. I think weed helps many
It's really
people.
hard to convince parents, like your parents, about it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue, like, I've had. I'm sorry, I cut you off, but
No, you're good.
But I've had trouble like explaining it to my mother, because I did go through a phase where I was smoking, but I did later on figure out that it's not necessarily for me. But my younger brother recently has started smoking, and he actually it's been like 2 years now, and he smokes. And I was just trying to explain to my mother, because she was just so against it. It's so hard to explain to your parent that it's just not. It's not what you think it is. It's literally not what you think it is. But some people are just stuck in their ways. But I've seen other people that have come around to it. Like people that I've literally heard, had conversations with them about it that completely switched over.
Entirely.
Completely switched, where they smoke every day.
Yep. And with things like that, I always try to remember that, like, that generation, because my mom very much used to be that same way.
Yeah, it's tough.
And again, it's just even like that ignorance where until like our lifetime, access to information was not as commonly available. So unless like you went and read it somewhere, you couldn't just Google it.
Yeah.
So you kind of listen to other people, the TV, the media, everybody else more. So when you have, maybe a lot of people around you telling you this stuff is bad and you might not have had the best experience, you believe that.
Yeah.
And you have no idea, you're not questioning anything else. Like, why would you?
Nowadays,
it just
kind
kind of makes sense.
It's tough to take somebody nowadays when you have a certain stance on something and you're not doing your research on it. It's hard to like even take somebody serious like that. Like if you have a certain stance on something like, let's say, marijuana, and you don't know a lick of anything of it, it's like, all right, well, then what are you talking about? You're going off
saying,
you're just saying shit.
Yeah. No, exactly. And it's just certain facts behind it where it's like, okay, you can never overdose on it. Okay, well, you can overdose on aspirin and caffeine. If you have 45 cups of coffee right now, you're not going to make it. Nobody has 45 cups of coffee, but okay, let's word it this way. You wake up in the morning. Don't talk to me until I had my cup of coffee. You know not to talk to me until I had my cup of coffee. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, if I woke up and was like, don't talk to me until I smoke my weed. Don't talk to me until I do this.
Yeah,
You'd be like, ooh, you have a problem.
Right.
Well, I could say the same thing about you. I'm not judging you because you have your coffee in the morning to wake up and go to work. Don't judge me because I'm smoking at the end of the day to deal with your stressful ass.
Yep. You're stressing me out. Go have your coffee.
It's true. It's so true.
You go have your coffee. I'll have my weed.
So
Actually, this is just off topic a little bit, but edibles. I had some edibles camping trip last weekend.
Hell yeah.
And I didn't have much. How many milligrams was it? It was
Probably
like nothing.
like 5, if that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but it kind of like shocked my body, so it hit me hard. But then again, I did had a few hits of the cone that you guys had.
Yeah.
And also, I was drinking on it, but yeah, I had the time of my life, man. I was just like sitting by the fire, cracking up. I was enjoying myself.
Yeah.
So like, it was great, and I was on vacation. It was only appropriate.
Right.
So I'll do my thing in the it has to be like a certain setting.
Right.
I always
definitely.
tell JQ that because JQ's always trying to get me to smoke something. No
Always.
peer pressure, but it's like I love. He's like,
Yeah.
yo, Baldwin, you gonna smoke? I'm like, nah, man.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
JQ's even that kind of person. JQ pulled up this morning and was like, hey, I got food. You guys want any of my food? Like, so that's just him. He's all about sharing. So.
Yeah. So no, it was a great experience. So,
But even just that, what I loved about that, honestly, the most is, I don't really smoke a lot. Like, I don't consume that much.
Mm-hmm.
So you had like 5, no more than 10 milligrams, which is a very good dose for somebody who doesn't have a high tolerance. And then, and I had a couple hits. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So many times people come like new to whatever and just don't know and have too much.
Too much,
yeah,
too fast.
I've been in that boat too. I've been in that boat where I've had too much, and so I made sure to have just a little dose of
Yeah.
it, because I remember having too much, and it did kind of scare me. But you have to be self-aware what the fuck
of what you can handle.
Yeah,
and even I actually there's times where like I smoke a lot. That's primarily how I consume marijuana. But edibles just hit me on a different plane,
I think it hits everybody like that.
and you know what I mean. So like I'll take that same camping trip. I took 15 milligrams and I was smoking all day, and it boom hit me. I had to take a shower to refresh. You know what I mean? But it's just
Yo, good thing you didn't go in the hot tub because when I got in the hot tub, it was over. It was over. My night was done after the
I'm
hot
one
tub.
with the waves.
Because you know how like the hot tub just completely relaxes you, and I was
yeah.
already relaxed. Now I'm like OD relaxed. Yep. So when I got out the hot tub, I'm like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Going to bed.
But that's even just that. Like, again, like talk about weed and like the stigma and stuff. It's like, oh wow, I'm just chilling in a very safe environment, and you know what? I'm gonna have some snacks and go to bed. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be up till 3 a.m. and I don't know what's going on. I don't even know what the person next to me looks like right now, but we're going somewhere and we're going to do some stuff. And it's like, you reckless. Just smoke a little bit, order a pizza. You stay in home. You're going to save some money, and you're probably going to laugh and have a good time.
Yeah.
Throw on some Disney Plus, some classics.
It's funny you said like watching stuff. Everybody was watching the most random shit.
Yeah.
Because there was multiple TVs. And then I'll be upstairs and Richie was watching some show that's like on Netflix, like a really funny, trippy one. And then I'd be downstairs and Richie's watching some war movie. It was just like there was so much different
So
shit
much
going.
different,
because
yeah.
everybody's like everybody's high is different, right?
Yeah.
Everybody does different shit when they're high. It was really cool though to see it. Like you said, there was like a bunch of pockets
Just
of
different pockets of energy vibes. You know what I mean? Like you get like different crews, like the too high but like comfortable, relaxed, want to watch like a kickback TV show.
Somebody's chilling outside, sitting down.
Someone's
Another
vibing out the
person's
music.
making tacos. Another person's watching a movie on Netflix.
So my vibe.
Just everywhere, whatever you choose.
Yeah,
I'm making circles.
and it's awesome.
Bringing my tacos with me everywhere.
It's awesome because everybody's doing something that's safe. You know what I mean? They're not doing something that they're not in control of. You know what I mean? And worst comes to worst, they're gonna take a nap. You know what I mean? Like everybody's just gonna bounce back, and it's just crazy. Like the things that go behind. Oh, it's dangerous. What's dangerous about me eating a sandwich at 12 at night? You know,
Right.
Making a peanut butter and jelly. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out
And
PB&Js.
again, like, and I'm not, even condoning anyone smoking and driving or anything like that. But my whole life, any car accident I've ever been in, never been when I was high.
never.
And I've never heard of anybody I know. I'm sure that this has happened, so I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I don't know anyone who's had a car accident because they were too high. And if they did, it might have been something where it's like, like I backed into the fence that was too low to see and I forgot that it was there. But it'd be like a slow, like, not, I'm going 80 miles down this street again at whatever time at night and whatever happened. And it's just like, no, like that doesn't, no. If anything, weed kind of, I think, slows you down and you kind of better appreciate the moments in your environment and
Definitely
everything.
have more of a focus.
And again, to what you said, where sometimes people have had too much or you consume too much, when anyone's like just like brand new to smoking or anything like that, again, you have this whole endocannabinoid system we went through. It's how your body reacts to cannabis. Sometimes instead of like just you took this one little hit, sometimes people just started smoking or eating edibles or anything, and they have 10, 15 milligrams, 30 milligrams, or they smoke and they take 2 big hits.
And then they're fucked.
And then it's like, and then they'll be like, oh, it gives me anxiety. And it's like, you consumed too much for your tolerance right now. If it was a little bit less, you might have had a different reaction. Or even if you try it again now, because your tolerance is going to be a little bit different, your body might now be like, okay, we're good with this level. This helps calm us down or anything like that. And genuinely, it's not for everybody. It might not, work for you or anything like
That's why
that.
I think it's
but
important too who you get it from, and if the person you're getting it from is not really, introducing it the right way, then I would feel some type of way about it. If somebody's not introducing it the right way, and then let's say, boom, you take 30 milligrams, then it's like your experience is fucked up, and what you think of edibles is that one experience you had, as opposed to like if somebody introduced it to you the right way, like, hey, I don't know if you've done this before. I don't know if this is your first time. If this is your first time, this is how much you should take. So that's to each his, like everybody, does their shit their own way, but I think that's the proper way to do it.
yeah,
Right.
no, it is. 'Cause, again, you have to give people those heads up because there's plenty of times where, again, like shit tastes good. So it's like you get a cookie, a brownie, or candy bar, or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, maybe you have half of this or 2 pieces of that 15-piece candy bar. Where then again, people will be like, oh, like I ate the whole thing because it was good. And it's like, oh, well, that was 500 milligrams. You should probably go,
Yeah, you're probably.
you're going to just lay down for a little bit. You're going to be fine. I'll order the pizza now, but that's all you're going to want.
You done, son.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh, shit. That is funny.
But it's happened. We've been there. I synced it.
That is funny, though. That's funny. But even when you take, it's funny. Even when you take too much, it's not bad. You just sleep.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You sleep and then you wake up. You're like, I can sleep again.
Yeah. Like, and I'll be totally honest.
It's like a different level of groggy
Oh, yeah. I ate
if
some.
you have too much.
Yeah. Well, I ate some edibles myself last night. And again, 2.5 potheads. Y'all talking about 5 and 15. I had 67 milligrams of some high quality candy bar last night.
High quality
And
candy.
same thing. I take a couple hits, and it's fantastic because I eat the edible. I'm high. Now, well, I enjoy smoking as well, but now I'm just going to take one hit. And we're still just loving this cloud. Me and my girlfriend just hung out. I needed kind of like a mental health evening. Just been so much going on. So it was nice to just kind of have some
Nice.
edibles.
Yeah.
We already had like our snacks and stuff planned. Just some ice cream and cookies, a little pizza snack.
Yeah, see, even when you just know you're going to do it and you have shit like preset for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's fire.
And-
It's so fire.
That's fire.
And my sleep, honestly, like no bullshit. There were some times last week where I'm reviewing purchase orders and emails, and I'm doing this actually from midnight till 2 a.m. I go to bed at 2 a.m. I'm up at 4:30, work again, go to bed that night at 2 a.m. pulling like 22-hour days. So then it'd be
Yeah,
like,
I know you go hard. Yeah.
so
You've been
by,
going
like,
crazy.
some of the end of these weeks, and I'm like, oh my God, my brain's actually a little mush right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why, like last night, I was like, nope, we're gonna chill. I ate some edibles. I got my 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I actually probably could have got another hour or two.
Yeah.
But no, it was fantastic. I woke up a little before my alarm. It was a little groggy, but fine. Had my coffee.
Yeah.
Ready
Well,
to
for
go.
a person like you, it's perfect because it forces you to relax. Like, nah, motherfucker, you are going to relax. Whether
Yeah.
you like it or not, you about to relax.
Because I say it to people all the time. You guys know this to be true. I'll be like, and honestly, this is probably the longest I've sat. But this is, again, like we're doing something, we're moving. But the only time that I can sit down and like not is when I'm smoking. And then it's funny because I'll even know when like my smoke breaks over because I'll smoke and get to like my comfortable point, and then I'll be like, all right, I got to go find something to
go.
do.
Yeah.
And it helps, honestly, keep me going. And when my days are that long or there's so many moving pieces, it can be stressful and things can build up. And it can be like a little overwhelming at times. And then it's like as soon as I take like a smoke break, it just brings those levels down.
Right
it's like a
back
deep
down.
breath for my soul.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, wow, I can immediately handle the same amount of like shit
Yeah.
all again right now.
Yep. Without being as stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, like this is,
That's another thing
I
of
agree.
just that's beautiful because it's going back to just being self-aware. It brings you back to that self-awareness, smoking. So
I do it in a similar manner too. Like I go a mile a minute. Anybody that knows me knows I'm always like,
we know, bro.
you know what I mean?
Well,
Like, yo, we do this, let's
I
do
know.
that. You know what I'm saying? And so like, and I happen to like to create too. So like when you're constantly like overloading or thinking of what's next to do, what can I do? How can I do this? How can I make this work? And when I smoke, you know what I mean? I'm like, it brings me right back down to earth. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to giggle while I'm doing it now. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it definitely levels you out essentially. You know what I mean? So
I know that sometimes I'll be at work sometimes and then I'll get a call from JQ. I see an incoming call. It's like, this is either going to be he needs help with something with like when it comes to the mixer or whatever studio stuff.
Yeah.
Or he's going to have like 6 ideas.
Yep. I love
6
it.
ideas, like, and he's going to go on and on. I love it when you call me with 80 ideas. I'm like, oh, this is great. Just fucking jot one of them down. fuck, man.
Yeah, I
Jot
do the
one of
same
them.
shit. You know, we got to get like an Alexa or whatever it is that you can just be
Yeah.
like, Alexa, write this down or remind me this. Because people say the same thing. They'll be like,
Yeah, I'll be in bed and I'll have like 80 ideas, and sometimes I just don't jot it down. I'm just like, oh, well, I'll remember some of them tomorrow.
yeah. Yeah.
And I bet you that's with you and with
Yeah.
anybody. You know, it's funny.
Oh, man.
So back to like it gives you back to that level, that grounding.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Well, and that's why it's like I just want everybody to just approach everything in life just with an open mind, because
Yeah.
with anything in life, if somebody you're going to get like different sides, different perspectives of everything, and it's all going to help you better understand what's going on in the world and in life or anything. But just recognize that again, like you are limited in your knowledge about anything. All you can do is gain the most perspective. So it's like you might have this negative view of weed and that's fine. That's some of your experiences. But we just told you about like some stuff and how it really helps us to manage our thoughts and stress and to get through the day in, again, a healthy, active, professional manner. But then again, like, okay, wow, like I'm back down to earth and can keep going throughout my day and not have this mental stress and like weight on my shoulders. So then again, understanding that, then it's like, wow, this helps a lot of people. It doesn't hurt them at all. How can I not be for this again? It's the same thing. You have your coffee to wake up and get through the day. Okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. And I don't care if anybody chooses to drink or whatever anyone wants to do in their free time. But at the same time, I'm not judging anybody if they say, hey, it's been a long day. At the end of today, I'm going to have a couple drinks. I'll be like, okay. Again, as long as you're safe and doing whatever in a safe manner, to each their own. But, to negatively view anybody or, to have a workplace or anything like that, that's like, oh, a negative viewpoint with weed. It's like, listen, just open your mind a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's fire. And it can be used for both, like the day to day, like, when you need your break, 15-minute break, boom, I'm going to smoke real quick. Or just, I like how you compare, I love that you compare it to coffee. Because like everybody fucking drinks coffee. It's like it starts off your day, but it's literally, it's interchangeable in my mind. It's the same fucking shit. You do it to ease your mind, keep you awake, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
You can use it for the day to day, and then you can use it for when, all right, I don't care about my responsibilities right now. I have some time. I'm going to get blasted. You can use it for both things.
Yeah.
It's you know
And
what
that's
I'm
still-
saying?
and that's
you
still-
can't be like, well, you shouldn't. You can wake up 8 a.m. I need a couple shots to start off my day. It's probably not a good idea. And it's not healthy.
No.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. The weed and coffee is interchangeable.
Yep. And that's why it's like, I even like making that comparison more too, because plenty of times in my life, people would make that one. They'd be like, well, I'm not drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'd be like, well, this is not the same. Like, it's not going to affect me for hours. I'm going to smoke, and probably by the time I get to work, I'm probably not.
And it's just not healthy for you.
Right.
Like your liver is going to suffer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, like, let's say, because I used to work in the service industry, smoke weed. I'm a very happy, positive person. Plenty of times people ask me, why are you so happy and positive? Because I smoke weed all the time. And again, this is what works for me. I've lived a lot of life. I know at this point what works for me and what doesn't. But when anyone would say, like, again, like, I'm not drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like, well, again, you're drinking to get drunk. I'm smoking to deal with my stress and anxieties of the day.
Yeah.
And honestly, my mental health is the hardest for me in the morning because my brain comes on and my brain's going a mile a minute. Sometimes it's telling me things that aren't real. It's telling me everything that I need to do right now. And it's just very overwhelming. Sometimes then it'll be like 4:35 in the morning. My brain's just like, nope, you're up now. You got to go. So sometimes I have my coffee, I have my bowl in the morning, and I get more stuff done from 5 to 8 in the morning than most people get done in their whole day.
Yeah.
And it's just that, again, it's okay, well, I need to calm down. It's all going to be fine. I have plenty of time to do this and get everything done. And then I go and attack the day. I just dealt with my anxiety. And usually it's behind closed doors, away from anybody, because nobody's really even understood that. And, all those things we'll talk about more in the future. But again, I can only just say that it's helped me so much. I remember talking about weed when it was illegal, trying to get people to understand, like,
That's why
this
it's so
can
dope,
help
man,
so
'cause
many
I've known
people.
you for so long, and you've always had that mindset, and you've always had that outlook on shit. So it only makes sense that you're doing all of this with the shop, the podcast. It's dope, man. It's dope, and
Hell
keep
yeah.
it going, motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Keep that shit going.
Thanks, man. I super appreciate you guys. I super appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. We're definitely going to have you guys come on more.
This was fun. Yeah,
It's a pleasure, man.
Hell yeah. Great energy.
I'll chime in once in a while, but being on it's fucking it's different. I
It
like
is.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love having the perspective of people who would be new to growing, who are just interested in getting some more information. And then it just helps us better explain some things that maybe we don't realize that we should go into some more information about. So again, if anyone has any questions, you want us to go deeper into any topics, any grow stuff, anything like that, feel free, reach out on Instagram, send me an email, masshydroponics1@gmail.com. You can call, text me anytime. You can find my number with the Mass Hydroponics. You can probably just Google my number and find it. And stay tuned again. Check out 2.5 Potheads Instagram for more information on our well-grown seeds giveaway. That will be episode 6 again. So you guys have a few episodes to get on Instagram, like, comment, share, tag, do your thing. And we will talk to you guys soon. As always, stay lifted, stay happy, stay healthy. Peace.
Smoke weed every day.